How's it going, everybody? So it's part 21 on the Corvette project, and I'm doing this part fairly soon after part 20. I don't know when I'll upload it. I don't know what I'm going to include in this part, but I've been doing a lot of mechanical stuff on the car lately, and finally got it to where she's running pretty good, and I think she'll be okay for a little while, and just kind of needs to be driven around, and work out the little bugs and stuff like that. So what I want to do today, since I have a full day off finally, is go ahead and do a little bit more body work on this thing. I sold a helmet that I had left over from some other stuff a few days ago, so I had a little bit of money, and it wasn't enough to kind of like put away and save for like a bigger item. So I just went ahead and bought a little bit of primer with it, and some spot putty, and just kind of some bodywork stuff. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do some of that, and try to probably first get the rest of the back of the car in primer, and then I'll go ahead and spot putty some areas on the whole car that need it. So I'll go ahead and start blocking the car down with some like 220, and just kind of work my way through the bodywork process here. But first thing I gotta do is do a little bit of more Bondo work back there on a few spots. My dad recommended that I do a few more spots on there that I had thought maybe spot putty would take care of, but he knows a lot more about Bondo than I do, so I agree with him after I looked at it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll see how far I get today. So one of the main spots I need a little bit more Bondo was around here where the rearview mirror went. It's got some nice cracks along there, and so I'm going to try to file those out a little bit and then smear a little bit of Bondo in there. So that's one spot. And then also up here, nice little chip out of the gel coat and paint there. A couple of them that I need to fill up with some Bondo. And I think that's actually pretty much it. Maybe a few more on the fender down here. But the rest of it should be spot putty stuff. After I sand this thing down and the front down, I may decide that I need a little bit of Bondo on these things, because they are kind of rough, just because they got burnt, and just terrible by the sun for years. So I don't think spot putty will fix it all, and I'll have to see how it goes as I go along. But those are the main spots up here. I got the car all taped up, at least the parts that I'm going to prime. It's just going to be like the back area. So got it all taped up, got the wheels covered up, and I put a little bit of Bondo on those spots I showed you earlier, and I'm getting ready to mix up the paint and spray a little bit on there. Okay guys, so I got the rear end of the car primed, and I'm not too sure, but I think my gun was kind of being a little screwy there. It's an old gun that my dad had left over and been using for primer for years, so no telling. It seemed like it would come in and out kind of, but since it's primer, it's alright, and I got it on there. And this is only the first application of primer back here anyways, so I can always, or I'm going to, spot putty it and then wet sand it and block it down and then prime it again at least once before I paint the color on there. But I think it looks pretty good. It is lighter than the first type of primer that I used, which is not really a big deal. It's just, a different color. So this thing is still not one color. But I need to do this again anyway, so I'm probably going to put some spot putty on right now up here, and then maybe start blocking this down. I don't know how I feel when I get done with that, but just thought I'd show you guys that. And I think this color is kind of cool on there actually, because the lightness of it kind of shows the lines of the car in a different way. I don't know, just kind of looks cool. But I'm still going to paint it dark gray, so it's cool for now though. Okay, so I just thought I'd make a clip of the car untaped after the primer. Like I said, I think it looks wicked cool right now, actually. But I also really wanted to show you this here. I put the boot in here in the last video, which is on the Corvette. Since the gas cap's up here, water's gonna obviously come in through the filler cap, and if it's nothing there, it's just gonna sit on top of the fuel tank, or rise up and then go inside the gas tank, which is what happened before, because the drain hole down here got plugged up. But as you might see, this boot is pretty old and ripped, and it actually was like not fitting right when I put it back in this time. I don't know why, but there was a big gap right here that water could just seep right down here and go right on top of the sending unit, and I'd be back where I started with the friggin' rusty tank if I left it like that. So until I can get a new boot, I took some of this old rubber that I had from an old ski boot and just cut a piece out and shoved it up in a lip that runs around here, so it's nice and sturdy right there, and then cut a little slit out right there so it could fit around the gas cap, and water can just go right here and run down to the main boot and then down into the hole and down out of the car. So that'll tide me over until I can get a new drain boot there. So that makes me feel better, because I was starting to worry about it and not knowing what exactly I could use, because I knew it wasn't fitting right. And actually, when I washed the car today, water was underneath that boot when I took it out, so I was like, that's not good. So hopefully that'll fix it for a while until I can get a new boot. Okay, so I'm just putting on a little spot putty on the car. Just kind of smearing it on areas that need it, which is a lot of areas. So this is only the first application. I'll do it and then wet sand the car and prime it again, and then possibly do it again. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I got the rest of the car in spot putty, and most of it's back here on this rear bumper, because that was the worst spot. So I'm just going to let it dry up for a little while now. Most of it's probably pretty dry already, because it's a hot day outside. And it took me a while to put all of it on, but I'll give it a little bit more time, and then I'll maybe start wet sanding